This is American Dumpster Fire.
Citizens, welcome back to American Dumpster Fire. Today we're going to talk a little bit about campaign finance and Citizens United with you. But first, the news. What's going on in the world, guys?
Nothing good.
Aside from the obvious. So,
well, other than the Senate,
you that broken up about it?
Well, I accidentally tuned in to watch it live.
No.
And it actually went surprisingly quick. Like, it went on forever, but it was all resolved in, 35 minutes.
Because they were never going to hold him accountable.
Yeah, they were never going to look into any form of justice.
But I was surprised. On the first charge, Mitt Romney, the only Republican, actually voted conscience against Trump.
Now, hold on, guys. He isn't a good person because of this.
No, well, he did it because God told him to. But whatever, I don't care. But the point is that...
Well, it's because Trump is Satan, but not the Satan, just a Satan.
But apparently, he either didn't think he was guilty of the second charge, or he realized nobody was voting with him.
Well, it didn't matter. Once he did the first one, he was vilified. See, here's the thing.
I think he was out there like, hey, if you do it, we're all going to do it once. 1, 2, 3, and he jumps out, and nobody else did, and he looks like yes. I think that's what happened.
The one thing I like about Trump is that he's destroying the Republican Party. I just wish he wasn't taking the rest of America with it. So.
That's a fair assessment, but he truly is. It's a terrifying time in this country.
Yeah, and there was an independent who voted against him on both. I don't know how many indies we have in there.
I don't know.
But there was one, and all Democrats versus all Republicans.
Right.
That's basically how it fell. It totally down party lines, very little in the way of surprise.
So now what's going to happen is Trump, because he's a petty, terrible, terrible person, is going to retaliate and go after everybody he perceives as his enemy and try and destroy them. So, are you owing Nancy Pelosi?
No. I was just remembering the other item in the news, but go on.
Nancy Pelosi ripping up the State of the Union address.
Oh, why is everyone freaking out about
Well,
that?
now Trump is telling everybody she broke the law by tearing up her copy of the State of the Union address.
God.
Which is hilarious. Hilarious. Now, granted, I know they're saying that he's been, God damn it. Found not guilty, whatever the word. I'm totally at a loss right now.
Oh, yeah. He has not been acquitted. Let's be
Yeah.
honest. He just hasn't been held responsible.
Well, that's the thing. Senate was supposed to find responsibility and assign it. The House already found him.
Right. So all they did,
impeached.
this is like if you
He's
murdered
legally
somebody,
impeached.
right, and you went to trial, and they said, yes, you murdered somebody, and they're like, all right, now it's time to sentence you.
Right.
And the jury says, yeah, nothing, time served, he's good. That's what happened. So there is no sentencing for his wrongdoings. He was already impeached, and impeachment is for life, and he was not acquitted. And we should not remove it from his record. And even if they did remove it from his record, it will be forever on the internet that he was impeached. So fuck him.
Right. The thing with Nancy Pelosi ripping up the speech and everybody being up in arms about it, I find it so fucking hilarious.
He's ripping up our country.
That we're acting like...
Yeah, if you actually listen to that speech, there's a reason she ripped it up. Because she was biting her tongue, biting her cheeks. Because the thing is, her job, for her position, was to stand back there and just go, and everyone stands up and cheers, or they just look stone-faced. That's what everyone did through the whole thing. You're not supposed to interrupt. It's his, State of the Union. She was being played all the way through, but he was saying horrific shit. I can't even begin to list it. Your mind turns off at a certain point. But seriously, if you haven't seen it, go find it on YouTube. It exists. I thought she showed as much class as you possibly could through all that.
What were you saying, Tyr?
I was just saying that, this party has already thrown any ounce of, civility and decorum out the window since Trump began campaigning. He was making fun of a handicapped person.
Oh, God.
He has, had recordings of him saying absolutely awful things, and we're all just like, yeah, but that's okay. It's just locker room talk or whatever it is.
Yeah, we're going to be dating when you turn 18.
We have made excuse
Gross.
after excuse after excuse because the man is disgusting
Yeah.
on every level. And
But the people who vote
decorum
for him are just like him.
and poise and any kind of, I don't know, respectability was thrown out the window in 2016. And now we're like, oh, she ripped up a paper.
I mean, look, Republicans are triggered by everything. They love to say that it's Democrats who are triggered by stuff, but you never see more crybabies than when Republicans
It's
get behind
just
something.
the hypocrisy of it
Yeah.
is so blatantly obvious, and you people are so fucking stupid.
They are. But that's the problem. This is a perfect storm created on purpose, I think, just to keep the Republican Party in business. And be not fooled. They're a business. They're a failing business, just like Trump's.
I mean, he's definitely highlighted so many things that are so very wrong. So, I mean, thanks for that at least.
Now we just need to deal with them.
Yeah, let's try to
So.
clean up the mess.
All right. Anything else big in the news?
Yeah, the whole app fiasco at the Iowa
What a load of
primary,
shit.
the opening, was supposed to give them all this momentum. It's the start of the
So-
whole election season, and yeah,
There's a couple of big names who are saying that it's because there was a rigging. Now, I'm not going to say that. I don't think that. I don't have the evidence to say I would like to see some kind of investigation into it. But unfortunately, the Democratic Party can do whatever they want.
well, here's the thing. It's digital, which leaves itself open to that. And it's one of the reasons why we still have a lot of paper, and we have this whole thing with the Diebold machines and all
But-
this security. And they offered, the company that made the app offered to have it tested against like hacking or something. But they said that wasn't what happened. They said it was more of like
Well, they were blaming glitches and and outages.
like
and
it
stuff
just
like
couldn't handle the all at once, like
So-
a denial service.
But
almost.
here's the
Don't you-
thing.
Isn't that its entire purpose, is to
Yeah.
be able to handle this?
That. Yes.
Well, it wasn't put through its paces apparently.
Look, the people don't want more digital shit, though, because digital is hackable, and the people are sick of it. We want paper, and we want double counts publicly. Okay?
Well, the thing is that
And we want to know that our paper shit's not going to disappear.
the
Right.
digital is only to back up what was happening physically because there was supposed to be actual people standing,
Right.
and that was the vote.
Well, and that's the
how
other
that Iowa one
problem
works.
is
It's
the
got a whole weird
counties.
system.
The counties' counts were not the same as the DNC's counts. Now, this can be simple mistakes, and I will admit that. It's just that this whole thing does sound fishy. Okay. I hate to. I'm just saying, get your shit together. I'm not saying that I'm not accusing anybody or anything like that. But in the end, what did we see? We saw Bernie Sanders winning the popular vote, correct? And we saw
Well, that actually
Buttigieg,
just
or how do you? I don't
changed.
even know how
I
you
think
say
it's
it.
Buttigieg or something.
Whatever.
Yeah, that actually just changed.
That he what?
I was looking at the current results as of today because they keep updating it because apparently they still haven't got it hammered out. Buttigieg is up by 0.1.
Right, but that's because he had super delegates, not because he didn't get the popular vote. And that's what I'm saying. Bernie Sanders won the popular vote,
Oh, I
Buttigieg,
couldn't tell you.
but Buttigieg took the vote overall because he had super delegates.
All right, so it basically breaks down as Buttigieg got 26.2%, with Bernie at 26.1.
Right.
So it's so close. It's well within your
That
margin.
you would be
and-
correct, except for I think Sanders got so few super delegates, which these are people that
wasn't that based on a coin toss? I mean, it was.
I don't know. But in the end, what it is that certain people's votes count more than yours and mine. Those are super delegates. They let these people, whatever their weight is, I don't know what the specific weight, but it's a lot more than
I
me or
have
you.
looked this up in the past. I cannot remember what the hell it even meant anymore. It's just it's such a
Usually it's
convoluted
people
mess.
in the party who are given extra votes. So
Which is complete bullshit.
right, because it allows the party to decide who's really going to be running for president, not the people.
Once again, because they think the American people are idiots.
It's weird how many different steps they have that built into.
Right, to keep me or you from having our vote count. So,
Okay, so SDE.
by the way, the Democratic Party can do away with the super delegate system within their own ranks. They don't have to have this.
Okay, so after the percentage, it actually shows a super SDE. I'm assuming that's super delegate something.
Okay.
Elect. So Buttigieg has 564. Bernie has 562.
Oh, so that changed since the last I heard too.
So that 0.1% maybe is represented too. I don't know. So Elizabeth Warren's 18.2%.
It's so weird, and maybe it's a state-by-state thing, but I don't actually know anybody who is a fan of Buttigieg. I know more Biden fans than Buttigieg fans or whatever, but most of the people I know want either Bernie or Warren.
I'll
So
take any of them, but yes.
yeah,
those
sure.
would be my top
hey,
two.
guys, blue no matter who, right? So
Right.
anybody but Trump.
Right.
If we elect, a dog, I'll vote for it just to get Trump out.
I'm in. Let's just
So-
grab somebody off the street.
Dogs are good peeps.
Biden's got 15.8%, Klobuchar 12.2%, and Yang all the way down at 1%. So he's pretty much out.
Oh man, and I hear a lot of people online who love Yang. Yang's got some good ideas. I'm not counting him out. Hey, he might make a good, vice president for somebody if he doesn't make it to this part, because he's got some really good ideas.
Yeah, they might find an
I
office
thought
for
he
him.
had good ideas too. I just don't think he has the support, and I don't think he has, necessarily
It
the
didn't
ability
sound
to
like-
pull it off.
It didn't sound like the plan to get these things passed was really well worked out, but I like the ideas. If you can figure them out, great. Don't stop here at
Yeah,
this
for
election.
sure.
Try again or keep going.
Well,
If it doesn't pan out.
New
So
Hampshire's on the 11th, so we may well see if it goes better, though it's a whole different system because,
they're
Iowa's got
they're
this weird-
claiming that they won't have the same issues.
Nevada said
but-
they're abandoning they don't want the app thing. So we'll see how it all goes. I'm excited to to see how this pans out or whatever. But if there is any dishonesty, we're watching you. So if there isn't, keep it up, I guess. All right. Anything else?
No, because I had to turn off the State of Union. It was making me angry, so I
Yeah.
went to Netflix.
I don't even know. State of the Union. Everything's on fire. Great. Fuck yourself.
No, I tried. I tried to listen, and it just was so much double speak and just coded messaging. and
Was it during the State of the Union that he awarded Rush? Was it Rush
Yes,
Limbaugh that
yes.
medal?
Yeah, one
Medal
of
of
the
Freedom.
biggest pieces of shit in the
Oh,
country.
My
Oh,
God.
because he got lung cancer after telling everybody smoking doesn't cause lung cancer.
Well, he smokes a cigar, which traditionally isn't inhaled through the lungs. Usually, you end up with oral cancer. But
I don't know. I know a lot
That's sort
of.
of not the point. I'm pretty sure he's a racist prick. So maybe
I don't know, does he
he's.
smoke cigarettes too? I don't know.
not to my knowledge. But,
But I don't think
I don't
think
care.
he got cancer from that stuff. I think he got cancer from karma. So
I'm very tempted to bag on him, but it's just like whatever. He's living his own nightmare now.
he's filthy fucking rich. They'll be able to fix it.
Mm.
He'll probably club a homeless person and take their lungs. That's the kind of person he is. So
I
anyway.
mean, it's not out of the question.
That's what I'm saying, man. They're every man for himself. People like him. So just watch the news.
Let me put it this way: I don't wish him well, but I don't wish him harm.
Well, no, I'm not. I don't want anybody to.
I don't either, but I wish the homeless person better luck than him.
Yeah.
Well,
So
if he's got good lungs, he can outrun him.
he'd have his driver catch him. So
All right.
all right, are we ready? Are we going on
Sure.
to it? All right. So I prepared a little piece about campaign finance and Citizens United. This is not an in-depth thing, and I encourage you to go out and learn for yourself more. But we have a little bit of an introductory thing, kind of open it up for you, make it a little easier to understand, I think, hopefully. So I spent a lot of time on this, and I hope you like it.
Yeah, if you've got a lot of free time, and I mean a lot, Wikipedia has a huge page on this.
Yeah, but definitely learn for yourself. And take nothing that I say as gospel. Always vet your information.
Yes.
So
Or commentators, not a news source.
that's right. I'm here to entertain you, but I'd like you to learn something too. So, all right. So the American campaign finance is a confusing and unwieldy beast constructed of possibly purposely confusing laws, regulations, traditions, and acts.
Okay. It's okay. The political campaign finance is basically a process for financing campaigns at the federal, local, state level, as it regards to federal elections.
Campaign finance law is created and organized by Congress at the federal level, which is obviously the first conflict of interest there.
Right, because it's basically the nuts running the nut house.
Right.
They're deciding, how they can spend money, how they can get money, and everything, and then they're passing the laws themselves.
Right.
So that they can
benefit themselves.
So it's
so they can
basically
get more money.
right. It's legalized money laundering.
Right.
Because it's them. So, and it is enforced by the FEC, which is the Federal Elections Commission. For those of you who don't already know.
Which is an independent agency, which should be outside of the control of the presidency.
And more agencies should be independent, but as you'll learn, that's not really. They're not really as independent as they make it sound.
Right. Congress passes on the statutes giving the FEC power to enforce the rules they've passed, and the president chooses the board members of the FEC while Senate approves them.
So this is conflict of interest number 2, in that they are not truly independent, and they are definitely not above manipulation. This is proven by Mitch McConnell almost single-handedly dismantling of the agency through furlough during the October government shutdown. Which stripped the agency down to only presidential appointed officials. Even after it was made clear that our election system was vulnerable from foreign attack. This is only one of the ways that the Republican Party is dismantling our democracy. And as it stands currently, the FCC has little to no power. The inmates are in control of the prison. Mitch McConnell has dramatically weakened our country in the name of getting away with cheating to hold office.
Non-federal elections are governed by state and local law, so so corruption is a local issue as it's not being dictated by the FEC.
So on to spending. In 2008, between the candidates, political parties, and independent groups, a total of $5.3 billion was spent on the federal election.
In the 2010 midterm election cycle, a total of $3.6 billion was spent on federal elections.
Average winner of a seat in the House spent $1.4 million on their campaign. Well, the average winner of a Senate seat spent $9.8 million.
Okay, so where is all of this money coming from, and why?
Well, first, a couple of definitions, I guess. Hard money is donations made directly to a candidate, while soft money are donations made directly to a political party.
Soft money fundraising can be limitless, but the party decides how the money is spent, not the candidate. It's usually spent on a particular candidate directly, but rather usually on advertising or a platform.
Okay, so another type of soft money is the dark and elusive super PAC. An unlimited income stream. The limitation on the super PAC is only that the campaign or candidate cannot request them. There's almost no regulation on the super PAC, and I'm sure you can see how that can be used to buy candidates for personal gain.
Now come the PACs, or political action committees. So there are a bunch of different types of PACs with different rules for each of them. Basically, they are a group of rich people funneling money to the candidate that is going to do them the most favors, like cutting taxes to the rich or destroying Social Security or social safety nets, so their employees are too afraid to change jobs.
Man, they love acronyms. So what other sources of funding are there?
In 2016, of independent donations, over $200, only a little over 0.5% of donors donated almost 70% of all the donations.
Other sources of funding included bundling, which loosely defined allows a bunch of rich people to get together and give a bunch of money to a candidate together. These people are often honored with dinners and titles, and I'm sure after the election in other ways.
So that sounds a lot like those expensive $500 plate deals.
Sure, in some cases, but yeah, you're stroking off rich people for money.
Well, another source is the advocacy and interest groups, all one word or one phrase, also known as lobbyist. One of the most evil sources of money in America. I mean, most arrange fundraisers and assemble PACs for candidates, making them invaluable to unscrupulous politicians, and therefore they have to be appeased when the time comes. Tit for tat.
Right. 501(c)s are organizations like social welfare groups, labor unions, chamber of commerce, and charitable organizations. This is really one of the few places that regular people can get their voice heard.
But alas, labor unions make up a small number of contributions compared to PACs, And the 501c has been hijacked by insidious religious organizations looking to force their beliefs on everyone.
And there's the 527, which I believe we looked up, came up in 75. These organizations, they have no spending cap. They're a special IRS designation, and a lot of the organizations qualify but may not use it for the way you must be registered with the IRS.
Right. So basically, these organizations are almost specifically created to manipulate politics. So if you don't want to follow certain IRS rules, you might not use it. But this is almost specifically about manipulating politics.
Political parties may fund their candidate, but they're subject to contribution limits.
Now we come to the dark money. Dark money is a result of a loophole, purposefully or not, we can only speculate. In the disclosure system, trade associations which represent large segments of the economy, such as agriculture or technology, and nonprofit groups are allowed to raise unlimited amounts of money from corporations and individuals. It's called dark money because the identities of the donors, candidates, campaigns, entities, amounts of money, and what is being used on can be completely invisible and exempt from any disclosure requirements, making corruption convenient and inevitable.
So how do we get here? I'd blame Citizens United for a lot of it.
Where it was ruled that the First Amendment prohibited the limitation or restriction of independent expenditures for political communications by corporations to include labor unions, nonprofits, and other associations or organizations. What does that mean? Corporations are not people and therefore are not afforded rights. So how can this be? This also tells us that money equals more than freedom, or equals more freedom.
Now let us clarify. The lawsuit arose because a conservative nonprofit organization wanted to and was prohibited from airing a smear film about Hillary Clinton just before the 2008 election, which violated the 2002 Bipartisan Campaign Reform Act.
And that act prohibited making electioneering communication within 30 days of a primary or 60 days within an election by corporations or labor unions. It also prohibited making any expenditure advocating the election or defeat of a candidate at any time.
5 justices, including Anthony Kennedy, decided that the rules violated the First Amendment. They also overruled Austin versus Michigan Chamber of Commerce and part of McConnell versus FEC. These collective rulings handed carte blanche to corporations, unions, associations, and organizations to produce and release electioneering materials at will.
How do we have a system without corruption with numbers and rules like these? And why do we need to spend like this for an election? Why would you spend this on an election to make less than $200,000 per year?
Well, speaking engagements, you can make that $200,000 in one visit to a corporation.
Isn't there also a rule that any money not spent on your campaign that you earned is still yours?
I believe there are restrictions on it.
There's also loopholes.
That's the thing. They know the rules, so they know how to skirt and manipulate
Well,
them.
they've created the rules to make sure there is a way to skirt and manipulate them so that they get to keep this money.
Now, I believe that McConnell, when he first took office, was worth $2.9 million, and now he's worth over $29 million.
Because he's dirty as hell. That's
So-
the point. Is
And
that
some of them
these-
get jobs in corporations after the fact,
right.
if they're qualified or not.
And meanwhile, these corporations are continually funneling money to them to get their laws passed. You know.
Well, that's what it is. It's like you do this for me, and when you retire, we'll give you
Right.
this consulting job.
Right. This is basically selling
Bribery.
your democracy out
it's,
from under you.
It's straight up bribery.
Right. So that's the thing. We need to do something about all this. Campaign finance needs a complete overhaul. Citizens United needs to be overturned, and we need to make it to where this is no longer away from the profit off of our backs. Corporations have too much of a say, and it's because the laws are basically written so that corporations can just funnel money to candidates to fuck you.
Basically, because everything that's happening in this country is to benefit the 1% and corporations. These people are benefiting insane amounts. And what did we say that it was just announced that like Amazon paid like 1.something% in their taxes?
Right.
And they
Wow.
claimed, what was it, like a huge huge profit. I can't even remember the number.
Yeah, it's insane.
Massive.
It's probably still a lot of money. I mean, it's not fair, but that's still a lot of money. 1% of that is.
Meanwhile, all of their
Astronomical.
half of their employees are on welfare.
Oh no,
Right.
it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous because the thing is that me or you will pay 23 to 27%. Just
I have paid as high as 45%.
no, I'm saying directly out of your paycheck.
Oh, well, as
Okay,
independent contractor.
but I don't know about the end of the year and how that'll. I'd have to. I haven't. My point
Yeah,
being,
it's a good percentage that we're paying out of our paycheck.
my point is that you have to twist the elbow or the arm or whatever the phrase may be to get a rich person to pay 14%. Most of the time, they're paying under 5. They're getting refunds.
Well,
I mean,
and they've
it's
convinced the
ridiculous.
people who defend them that it's unfair because, why should they pay for this or that? When realistically, their businesses use the roads more because of the shipping. And,
Oh, yeah.
And even if they say, well, my company doesn't ship anything, you're using Amazon or UPS or various other things. You're using the highways. You're using the skies. You're flying things in.
Your
you know-
underpaid workers are using the welfare that we're funding because we actually pay taxes.
Yeah,
Right,
you're-
exactly.
We are, by extension, subsidizing that paycheck. I mean,
But
Exactly.
because
Because
they
they're not
can
paying 'em.
afford a politician, they can get away with this.
yeah, and that's the other thing. You hear about it from time to time, and it's hard to believe, but there are various lobbyists representing various corporations. From time to time, you'll hear they've actually drafted the whole bill, wholesale,
Often,
and then
almost always.
handed it over to his office, and his aides may look over it and go, "Okay, sounds good," and then they'll introduce it as if they drafted this legislation,
Right. So that's why
and nobody's even reading.
it's another
this.
reason why some congressmen and senators or what have you that are more scrupulous look like they do less work. It's because lobbyists aren't just handing them bill after bill after bill to put their name on.
Right. So if it looks like it's serving a corporation or
I'm not convinced some of them can read.
a segment of the
so-
population, that's why. Because they're the ones
like
writing
Louis
it.
Gomert. Oh my God, that guy looks like a fucking moron.
Like, that's the thing is, like, our Congress is getting handed stuff. They're not reading it. They're just handing it on. Let's do this.
Yeah, they
know?
hand this congressman his copy with his check, and that congressman his copy with his check.
The dude who suggested that we move re-implant ectopic pregnancies into a uterus,
God, that guy's an
not
idiot.
convinced that dude can read.
Did you listen to him? Well, how was I supposed to know? Oh my God,
Really?
you're an idiot.
Yeah, if you're going to vote on
If
medical
you don't
crap,
know about
Don't
something,
fucking make laws on shit you
Right.
know nothing about.
why are we electing these idiots?
wait. But
Why are we electing
hold on,
these idiots?
hold on.
He
What-
talks like me.
You had 70-year-olds going, we need to do something about Facebook influencing politics. So they had, what's his name?
Zuckerberg,
Yes, thank you.
Zuckerbot.
Yeah. Yes. His weird robotic alien self. They had him down
I
there.
am here in Congress.
And he was trying to explain as patiently as he could to people who don't even know how to turn a computer on.
Oh, the facepalm moments.
Yeah.
Listening to that, it was hilarious.
But my point is, they'll bring experts down to try and explain things to them. So you think that if you're going to do something involving a medical procedure, you might bring a doctor in. I don't know. I'm not asking
And
them
that's
to
the
go on
thing.
the internet
Yeah.
and actually read and do research. I'm saying have an expert come in and talk to you.
Right.
And see,
Or
'Cause I'm
better
pretty
yet,
sure most doctors
better
be
yet,
like-
when you have that plan written up, show it to a doctor. And if he goes, just don't speak to anybody ever again, maybe you want to rethink what
Wait,
you've
wait,
written
But
wait.
in it.
doctors are educated scientists, folks, and we hate them.
no,
Wow.
wait, what was his name? It was a brain surgeon. Looks sleepy all the time. I don't know if I want him involved.
Are you? Oh, you're talking about Carl Carson, Ben Carson.
Yes.
Well, I think poor people don't deserve housing.
Yeah, I don't. I wouldn't
That's
just go
right.
with any old doctor
That's
on that
him.
one.
The head of HUD.
Yeah. It's, God, this country.
Like,
If you
I
haven't
just-
noticed, I'm bad with
how
names.
do you look at what Trump has put into places
Like,
And-
and that's the thing.
and not like think I think we're being fucked?
like, he's
like-
literally trying to destroy
Like,
everything.
no, but seriously,
I think there's just absolutely no concern.
I
at
think
all.
I think you could put a gopher in front of a TV and just show them what's going on. and that gopher would suddenly speak and say, "I think you're being fucked." You know, like, but no, Trump supporters can't come to that conclusion. Like, it's amazing to me. Was there a mass lobotomy I didn't know about? Is that how they got there?
I think
Yes, it's the
hilarious.
U.S. education system, and it's been in place for a few decades now.
Like,
Well, yeah, we need to stop making those textbooks in Texas.
oh God.
For starters.
Yeah,
So-
there should be an oversight committee on that one. But I just found it laughable. Like, we all knew draining the swamp wasn't going to happen. But who knew he was going to stock the swamp?
I did. He's a swamp monster.
I mean, dear God. You know, like, you have like a...
Swamp Thing comes in and says, "Hey,
near
I'm going
dead
to drain the
lake.
swamp. Are you Swamp Thing? Are you?"
And you start
Right?
putting some perch in there, some
I
walleye.
feel like we should have seen this
You know.
coming.
Right.
I'm just saying.
Yeah. The billionaire is going to get billionaires out of politics. Okay.
Right.
Dumbasses.
Yo, I could never imagine that it'd be so blatantly corrupt as it is.
A man who is known for screwing people in deals isn't going to screw you in a deal. Okay.
Well, I'm not, never had confidence in him, but I mean, dear God. I mean,
Like
who
you thought
could
he'd try to
fathom
hide
this?
it a little.
You're
That's
right.
the difference. You
That-
thought he'd try to
that's
hide it a little, and he
just-
hasn't.
The smallest effort. The smallest effort to pretend like it's not a scam.
Right. But the whole, let's be honest. I mean, after reading this, after seeing, you know, how campaign finance and Citizens United works, it's not hard to see it's all a scam. The whole thing is a money laundering operation.
By design, the government is like, and maybe it didn't start off that way, but like now, I feel like decades, I feel like 70s, everything has been,
At the least.
at the least, everything has been created to do this more and more and more until it ate away at our society, until it is what it is. Like, look at the way life was in the 50s. You know, fucking Leave It to Beaver. One
Casual
person could
racism.
work. The American
I was
dream.
going to say, depends on what side of that
That's
line
not what
you're
I'm
on.
talking about. I'm talking about the economy.
Oh, okay.
I'm talking about, you
I'd have
know,
been called a dirty beaner.
the American dream was something that was a viable thing. It was real. It doesn't exist anymore. You
Well,
know what I'm saying?
That's also because we pretty much... Okay, now...
The American dream does exist in Norway.
I was going to say, yeah, here it's American delusion. But the thing is, there's other factors there. Okay, like, yeah, Henry Ford in many ways invented the suburbs. But what really brought him into play was World War II and all those people coming home. We subsidized. We helped build up the middle class.
Yeah, I
we
was
supported
reading-
and made that.
I was reading a thing about like after the war, they weren't expecting so many people to make it home. So I'm like, oh, like, were you planning to like kill these people? Like, were you planning on getting them killed? You know, what was that about? Because
Maybe they thought it would all be
we
Normandy.
weren't prepared for so many men to come home.
In reference to what?
I can't
Housing
remember.
support, GI, all that.
Yeah, I gotta read so much every week to write these shows and stuff like
Right.
that. But yeah, that was one of the things. And then it happened again after Vietnam. They didn't expect so many men to live.
Wow. Thanks for the vote of confidence.
So,
Can't wait to sign up.
Vote of
Your
confidence. I
wars.
don't think the vote of confidence doesn't fall to our men. I think the vote of confidence is in your own generals. Like,
Yeah.
you didn't count on them being able to run a decent war, huh? You know?
Well, because look at the way the rest of the country runs.
Oh, yeah, no, politicians are absolute garbage. So,
Worthless.
it's just time to get rid of these people. And I don't want to say that we need more laymen in office, but definitely people who aren't lawyers, maybe? Less lawyers? Can we do that?
Could be.
I don't know. I feel like...
Because all the congressional and senatorial lawyers and stuff like that.
I mean,
that-
they've already had their effect. So we've got this huge just catalog.
Oh yeah, no, we need a
rules
complete
upon rules.
uprising of citizens to like start running for offices. I mean, it started, right? I mean, we got a
need
bunch of
common
people
sense
that
legislation, common sense taxing, common sense everything.
If
Everything's
there was
too
common
bloated.
sense anywhere in the
You
government,
can't read any of
maybe.
this stuff. They put riders and pork
Well,
and all these things to
yeah,
the point they're
that's
500
not
effing
even-
pages. No one's reading it. No one understands it. If you can't get it down to 5 pages,
Well, and then after what we've just done recently, for instance, no president can ever be impeached again. That's what you basically said to us.
well, not if he's
What do you
Republican.
mean?
If he's
So-
Democrat, he'll just leave of his
Oh
own
no.
volition.
They set up precedents.
Yeah,
Everything
but,
they've done, we can exploit.
Yeah,
So,
but we don't have spines, so we can't.
yeah. Well,
there's
unfortunately,
that.
they need to separate all the they need to separate both parties into two parties. There needs to be,
It's happening.
you know, So, well, I think that the Republican Party is going to collapse and come back as multiple parties, and I think the Democratic Party is going to split. But I think the best way to make that happen is ranked choice voting. We need this so that people are more accurately represented, you know.
I just think that to get that passed, you'd have to have Congress to pass it, and
Well,
I don't think it's in their interest.
Okay, so Congress it is in their interest. Senate it's not. So,
The House, you mean?
yeah. So that's the issue is that it will result in less Republicans getting elected because it more accurately represents the people, and there are
So you
more
would need
liberal
an honest
people.
Senate in place.
Yeah, and let's see that ever happen.
Right.
Well, with gerrymandering,
Well, actually, I think that the best way is to gentrify the South. So we move hipsters into the South, start cute little bed and breakfasts and bicycle shops and pastry barns and stuff like that. You know, pop these things up, populate the whole South, farm some goats and sheep and everything like that. But we need to breed liberal hipsters in the city and move them out to the country and then spread.
Yeah, it's just so hard to, deal with constant racism and homophobia.
yeah, you need more than a few per, an area.
Oh, no,
I'm
you
afraid they'll get murdered.
it's an infection. We make an infection.
You'd have to do a mass move to take over.
And then they'll be
And-
like, the hipsters are coming to take our jobs.
And I don't know, a lot of my hipster
Right.
a lot of my hipster
But
friends
they brought a cupcake shop.
a lot of my hipster friends look Amish, so they might be hard to tell a difference from.
I mean, that's fair.
The top knot.
So no, well they wear the broad brim black hat over the top
Oh,
knot,
okay.
so you can't see it. The top knot almost holds it on.
I see.
So, so just a thought, guys. Think about opening up a cupcake barn in the middle of the country. So, all right, guys. Anything else today?
Nope.
We will see you next week. I think, based off the polls so far, we may end up starting with the not the declaration, the amendments. We're going to talk about the First Amendment maybe next week, and then start going through each of the amendments.
Sounds good.
So we'll talk to you next time. Bye.